Salute, my Quick Classics friends. Welcome to another episode of Quick Classics on this January the 5th, 2021. Again, as always, if you like the content, please click a like, subscribe, and share. And today we'll be talking about the Roman god Janus, which is sort of timely because his namesake is likely preserved in the calendar that we inherit from the Romans. Not an endorsement necessarily of the worship of Janus, but it's good to have some historical background on this. Now, Janus, whose name in Latin Janus actually means an arched doorway or arched passage, is the Roman numen or Roman god of beginnings and transitions, and is also associated with time, with space, with all kinds of invocations and beginnings and births and monetary transactions, anything that has to do with the beginning or the end. Um, Janus was typically associated with those things. And in iconography, Janus is often depicted as having two faces, one that looked to the past and one that looked to the future, and holding with um, his nature as a god of beginnings and transitions. Um, he was also a god associated with war and peace and resolution of conflict, and you sort of get the idea, the picture here, that because of this, uh, Janus was, not surprisingly, a near perennial feature in Roman religion because he would be invoked at the beginning of most ceremonies and even secular occasions of auspicious nature. However, I think one of the most interesting things about Janus within the context of Roman religion is that he had no flamen or priest devoted to the carrying out of his specific rites like you would find amongst the other major deities in the Roman pantheon. Instead, it was the Rex Sacrorum, the king of the sacred, who would actually carry out the rites, or at least the public rites, of Janus. The reason that this is important is because the Rex Sacrorum is a relic or residue position of the earliest times of Roman history, the monarchy period. See, during the monarchy period, shortly after the founding of Rome, the Rex, or the king, carried out many of the religious ceremonies in the public sphere of Roman religion. With the overthrow of the Rex by the Senate and the establishment of the Republic in 509 BC, that position was basically stripped of all of its leadership and judiciary roles in terms of politics, but in many ways retained a lot of the public religious duties, and so the Rex Sacrorum remained. And this was the guy who carried out the rites of Janus, which is kind of interesting. There's no priest of a cult of Janus. Um, Now, another thing again that I sort of began with today was the etymology of Janus's name and his association with the month of January, Januarius. Um, there's some lingering debate over this issue today. Some scholars will contend that that it's actually Juno where January comes from, but um, if if Janus was originally a solar deity, like a lot of comparative religious scholars contend, such as Dumézil and people like Mircea Eliade, and he was in fact, as Numa Pompilius asserted, the most archaic of Roman gods, then it's likely that Janus is the source of the name for the month January. And that seems to be a pretty good fit. But there's a long list of secondary literature that you can reference if you'd like. Now, in terms of the sources that we have for descriptions of Janus, the mythology of Janus, and notably a lot of the religious rites, you'll need to turn to people like Varro, in particular his study De Lingua Latina. Macrobius's Saturnalia that I referenced in the video on the Saturnalia we did last month is also a decent source. Probably the best known source, or at least to modern audiences, would be from Ovid's Fasti, specifically Book 1. But there are a number of other outside sources, interestingly enough, that deal with the god Janus. But it's from a polemic perspective, and this comes from the literature of the early church, the early Christian fathers, like Tertullian, and especially St. Augustine. Augustine's City of God, many of you will know, is not only a great apologetic work, but it also contains one of the most comprehensive descriptions and catalogs that we have of mythology and respective rites in the Greco-Roman world, and you get a little bit about Janus from the City of God and some of the other things that Augustine writes. So there you have a bit of a rundown on the very curious god Janus, who shows up throughout Roman religion, Roman history. Like I said, very early on, even no less a person again as Numa Pompilius built a temple to Janus near the Roman Forum, and you have a number of other temples and arches that are set up in Rome throughout the Republic and Imperial eras as well. So this is not only an antique god, but a very functional and useful deity, as the Romans would have seen him within their religious context, cultural context, and a long-lived deity, especially if somebody like Augustine is writing about them in late antiquity. So I hope this was helpful. Maybe give you a little bit more insight, not only on the god itself, but also some of the origins of the name for the month of January. Again, thank you for viewing, and if you liked content, click a like, subscribe, and share, and we'll be seeing you soon.